kind of thing, but also it gives them a chance to do something different during their lunch hour. And for some reason, eating in their school library is a really big draw. Don't know why, but it is, because they can eat in there all day if they wanted to. I do not do traditional book clubs with my teens. I find they don't really work that well because whatever the new hot author is, either we have such a long pulls list in my library that I can't get enough titles, or you'll get the, not another John Green book. So I tend to do themes so that I can have a lot of different options for the kids. I try and make sure that I hit on themes where I can get from every single genre that I can possibly find, and include graphic novels if I can, to help with kind of boosting interest there. I've done a read around the world, which is a lot of fun. I did a different country each time. I did books set in that country, and if I could, I used an author that hails from that country. Not as hard as what you would think to find those. For some reason, DML has a lot of Russian authors. Don't know why, but my kids loved them, so good for us. And so I bring in a bunch of different things to try. I've done fairy tale retellings where I had different versions so they could talk about it. And what I would usually do is I'd be like, this is a familiar character. This is Cinderella. How is she treated in Cinder? How is she treated in this book or that book? And that kind of garnered more conversation than what did you think of the book? So I did that. I also did a book versus movies with my middle school where they would choose books in a certain kind of genre-ish. 1 month was bummer books, one month was more romancy kind of stuff. And the kids that could successfully argue the case to watch the movie based on their book got to watch that movie at the library, and we had popcorn and stuff. And so it kind of transitioned from only the middle school into using the public library also for some of that, which was a lot of fun. For my middle school, I include AR points levels, not because I believe in AR or that it gives appropriate values for things, because I feel that it does not. I feel it overvalues nonfiction and undervalues graphic novels. But that's my opinion on the matter. But my middle school does have a reading requirement, and they do use AR tests. So it's helpful for the kids to know how many points they're looking at, so that you don't get an 8th grader coming in 2 weeks before it's due and being like, how many My Weird School books do you have? Because they're 1 point each, and if I read enough of them, I can get through it. So I can hand them a book that's bigger, but also worth more points, and definitely more up their alley when it comes to that. I work with the librarians at the schools. Neither of my schools have professionals. They use paraprofessionals, which is how the school saves money, I guess. So they are very, very open to working with me on this kind of stuff. It was really easy for me to get in to do that, and I had a pretty solid amount of kids that wanted to do it. Does anyone have any questions?
So are you, how do you work with, when you give them a genre, are they reading those books before the meeting, or are you just telling them at the meeting and then later they read the books, or how do you have a discussion if they're all reading different books?
The first book club of the year, I come with the first batch of books that they can choose from, and I go over titles, and we talk about expectations for the book club. It's not hangout time. If you want to hang out with your friends, that's totally fine, but you got to do that in the cafeteria. I am not paid to be here as your babysitter. So we come to agreements on expectations, which gets more buy-in, and then the next time I come in, we talk about the books that they have previously read, and they get the new list, and it goes through, and then the last one of the year, they don't get a new list, but they do get a special treat, and we talk about how the school year went.
Cool. Okay.
And that is that.